Well, guys, I'm on time for once. Always late. Never being late. Never trying to be late. Whew. Continue the grind. Let's try that one. Okay. DCs. Ooh, I should get that out. Damn it. Fucking loser. Fuck that guy. Destroying my favorite enchantment. Is he gonna wait? What is he waiting for? Damn. Okay. L moment. Yeah, we get it. Good game, brother. This person retarded? Like, I'm not gonna, like, rage quit. I don't care. He wants to be a fucking retard. I wish I could type in here. Like, you're retarded. What a loser. Damn. Gonna have to sit here and watch this moron spam for like the next 2 minutes. I wish I could look at funny memes. Massive loser behavior. Hmm. True. True, 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 true. Developers, 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 developers. Lemonade based. Lemonade is the open source of all drinks. It is the bloatless drink. And that's why I love it. But only when it's like 300 degrees out. Alright, we do that. We do that that way. Oh man. Should have mulliganed. Come on, just give me one white. And then it'll be all good. Oh my god. This is not good. This is dangerous, I would say. Creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. Oh god. Oh my god, no! Ugh, god, I fucking hate this card. I should build another mono black deck too. What do you take? Early cloud? Interesting. No, what the fuck, bro? Why am I getting all this blue? Fucking bitch, bro. Fucking retard's already at fucking 33. Magic the Gathering has got to be smoking crack. To think that is not rigged. That is stupid fucking coincidental. That's fucking crazy. Smoking meth in the fucking background. What a bunch of fucking retards. Time to pull out the big guns, the big deck. I think we're goated. Flying. We're good. Oh, I should have. There we go. Always play an extra goblin before you do that. Seems kind of wasteful. But okay. Okay. Damn. It's kind of a dick move. But that's okay. I have my backup cards. Damn. Okay. Explore. I'm kind of in a oopsie. Damn it. Fuck this guy. Watch, I'm gonna draw a fucking land too. I swear, towards the end of any deck I get, it's just fucking land, 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 land. It's like I draw all my creatures in the fucking beginning. Oh, that's ass. What a cuck move. Yep, called it. Just unlock it for no reason. It's not like I can do anything. Magic the Gathering is smoking meth at this point. Land, fucking land, dude. It's like, when I don't need fucking land, land. When I need fucking land, no land. Make the algorithm make sense. And then he draws a fucking 4/5. Crazy. Oh, Impact Tremors. Not gonna fucking help me now. Crazy. It's okay. I'm gonna stay chill. No till here. And it's got life dude. Fucking. Alright, yep, can't do it. I'll lose my patience immediately. It's so boring. It gets so boring when it comes down to just drawing unrealistic fucking shit. Alright. Damn, I'm sweating. Ooh. A very good hand. Oh, damn. Damn it. Didn't mean to attack with him. Ooh. Okay, okay. Need one. Remind. Oh, fucking, oh my god, nope, it's over. Hmm? It's infinite. Infinite glitch. No, I need to grab some water. So we back. You still thinking? I just need a lot of gobbies for him. We got another guy.
This is the gun used in the most high-profile assassination in recent memory. Well, it's not actually...
Damn it, I fucked up. One will just take his place. Whack. Oh, nice. I won. All right, cool. There's something I want to see. This is like a month old. I fear I will get a DMCA strike, though. What does YouTube... I thought reaction channels were fucking, like, allowed. Am I reacting? Do I have to have my face in order to react?
The literal gun Luigi Mangione allegedly used to kill United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. But it...
Like, a company like Wired... This is, like, such an interesting topic that I do think about. God, I wish I could update the name. I can. Can I? Chat settings. No, not that. .3D guns. Can I have the word guns? Sus. Darknet. Lurk. No? Huh. Can I update the title? Oh, it does kill it. I think it does. It's okay. More if
It is the exact model of
This is super
firearm,
cool.
and we made it with just a 3D printer.
because I have a 3D printer, and you can buy the most lowers of firearms. Most lowers are
Some parts ordered off the internet.
I think
Some people
made-
call this a ghost gun because no government agency has any record of its existence. I didn't get a background check or show ID. No gun control at all. I'm Andy Greenberg. I investigate the strange, dark, and subversive corners of the internet for Wired. This is Hack Lab.
Let's see what the comments say. YouTube definitely won't be recommending this one. The problem with the state of 7,000 ghost guns recovered is they consider any firearm with a destroyed serial number as a ghost gun. Yeah. Now test against the LCTO to verify if it could be lethal. Nearly all of the ghost guns reported by the ATF are not 3D printed, but guns with serial numbers removed, but they don't actually mention that ever, of course. Evil Vsauce, that's pretty funny. The fact that you want to use allegedly, but then say it was his gun in the same sentence is insane. I think you just have to say that. I mean, it's pretty well known that it's his gun. Oh, the fact that You want to use allegedly, but then say it was his gun. No. I can't believe I'm holding the same gun used by a killer. Brother, let me tell you something shocking about every gun ever well, that's not true. Yeah. Oh, he's talking about the model. I guess it's a little retarded. Allegedly, his gun. He was with me playing Civ 5 at the time. Reminds me of the officer who recovered the gun had her body cam turned off when she found it. 70 Go Ghost guns, 70K 3 firearms. Even though everything just wants to have whatever opinion you want, but the figure is deliberately misleading for a reason. I don't think it's for a reason. I think ATF is retarded.
Made Luigi Mangione.
I don't think there's always a reason behind anything.
As a journalist, I've covered the digital DIY gun-making scene since the beginning. In 2013, I was there for the very first test of the first fully 3D printed gun, the Liberator. A couple of years later, I even built an untraceable AR-15 ghost gun in Wired's office to test just how far the tech had come. That was 10 years ago. Then, when Luigi Mangione was arrested in an Altoona, Pennsylvania McDonald's late last
Why is this guy dressed like that? That's what I want to know.
I wrote a news piece about the gun found in his backpack. According to the DIY gunsmiths I spoke to, it seemed to be a Chairman Juan V1, a tweak of a popular partially 3D printed Glock-style design known as the FMDA 19.2, an acronym that stands for the libertarian slogan, "Free Men Don't Ask." So I wanted to know, how easy is it for someone to build a deadly and untraceable weapon like this now? Has the law finally caught up with the reality of ghost guns?
Maybe it'll make it. Maybe I won't get a copyright strike. It's just so hot. Oh, yes, there we go. Spooky bunker, black room.
To find out, I decided to make one. So I went to Araby, Louisiana, to a gun range outside New Orleans, owned by James Reeves, an attorney and a popular YouTuber.
James, nice to meet you.
Our experiment here that we're trying to do is to actually 3D print Luigi Mangione's gun, just like he did.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, thank you. But my question for you, first, as a lawyer, is all of this actually legal?
Totally legal, but it depends on the purpose. So if you're making a firearm for yourself, there's no prohibition in the Gun Control Act of 1968 that would prevent you from making a gun for yourself. If you're making it for someone else, if you're selling them, distributing, totally different story. You've got to have a license.
A lot of states have made this illegal, but here in Louisiana, like, we're still good to go?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. We have free country down here, and the great state of Louisiana.
Over the years, the US government has certainly tried to regulate 3D printed and other kinds of ghost guns. After Cody Wilson released printable files for the Liberator online, the government ordered his company, Defense Distributed, to take them down. By 2018, Cody Wilson briefly won a legal fight to repost them on his website, but multiple states sued, shutting it down again. Then in 2022, the Biden administration really tightened regulations, requiring serial numbers and background checks for ghost gun kits, commercially available packages of parts which are designed to make it easy to finish and assemble a working gun. That led to legal challenges which were settled in March with the Supreme Court decision upholding those new regulations. But if you're not using one of those kits, it's really only state laws that restrict making ghost guns, and they vary really widely. New York enforces strict rules on self-made guns, requiring serial numbers on the receivers. California even prohibits the sale of 3D printers if they're intended to make a gun. But for the rest of the United States in between, including Louisiana, where we are now, it's still essentially the Wild West for DIY firearms. While the legal battle has gone back and forth, the technology has just kept relentlessly advancing. Since the first 3D printed gun parts began to surface online in 2012 and 2013, we've seen an explosion of digital DIY firearms. Fully or partially printable rifles, AR-15s, and even fully automatic printable machine guns. And thanks to a very committed community of online gunsmiths, many of whom are bent on defeating gun control, that evolution is still continuing. The first step to building the gun allegedly used by Mangione was easy. I found the gun plans online in minutes. Certain file sharing sites are packed with DIY firearm blueprints, detailed instructions, everything. In states like California or New Jersey, parts of this gun printing process, even sharing the files, is illegal. But in Louisiana, no such law. In fact,
so if I just go to like another state, I'm good, right? I live in California and I like leave California to like Louisiana and just purchase this. I don't know. Seems kind of backwards.
According to U.S. gun control laws, only one component, known as the frame of a Glock-style pistol, is considered the gun. If I make that part myself, say with a 3D printer, and I combine it with commercially bought components for the rest of the weapon, I can basically circumvent all regulations. So, armed with a shopping list and a credit card, we ordered everything we needed. A 3D printer, plastic filaments, and household products like epoxy were all just a few clicks away on sites like Lowe's or Amazon. And the more specialized components were available on sites that sell gun parts, just not the guns themselves. A few days later, every ingredient I needed to make Mangione's gun arrived in the mail for the grand total of $1,144.67 plus shipping. And that includes the price of the 3D printer. This is like Christmas Day. This looks like a slide, very much like an obvious gun part. Kind of crazy that you can just order this So it's kind of like a very interesting and fun technical challenge, but I keep having to remind myself not only that we're making a lethal weapon, but that I'm also potentially retracing the steps of an alleged murderer who carried out exactly this process. 3D printers work by extruding heated plastic filament through a nozzle, layer by layer, to slowly create.
It is funny that he says alleged murderer. Pretty sure that, I mean, pretty sure it's like pretty well known that he did this. I don't know if he admitted it. I don't know. I don't follow that case anymore. I barely followed it.
The object. We're going to print 2 frames just to be sure.
Oh, yeah.
These 2 frames will take about 13 hours, which is pretty quick. Back when Cody Wilson, a pioneer in the DIY gun movement, printed the Liberator, the original one-shot 100% 3D printed pistol in 2013, 3D printers were much slower, and the materials were pretty unreliable by comparison and cracked easily. When Cody Wilson tested that first ever 3D printed gun, he was concerned that it might blow up in his hands. He even used a string to pull the trigger for the first time. To some degree, I'm still a little worried about that, to be honest. DIY gun fails are still pretty common. When I made an AR-15 in Wired's office in 2015, a gunsmith warned me the frame of the gun that I had made wouldn't be reliable enough and recommended I use an aluminum lower receiver I'd made with a computer-controlled milling machine instead. We're about to see how much that question of reliability has changed over the years.
They're showing me in real time
Okay,
what I
let's
can
get
do.
started. Hopefully this whole experiment won't literally blow up in my face. The next morning, I returned to check on the 3D printed frames. This is pretty wild. Like, these things look like actual gun parts. So this looks like a big block, but all of this is support structure that just holds up the top of the frame here. So once I crack this off, oh yeah, I don't need to even clean anything out of this internal cavity here. This just looks almost like commercially made. It's so clean on the inside. It's just really impressive what a 3D printer can do today, overnight. So the frame is done. Now it's time to assemble this gun. I know from experience that it's tricky assembling a gun from scratch. There are lots of little pieces, and to be honest, I have no idea what I'm doing. So that's why I've reached out to a DIY gun expert and YouTuber who calls himself Print, Shoot, Repeat. He prefers to keep his face covered to preserve his anonymity. So what do you think of this 3D printed 9mm frame?
It looks beautiful. It's very excellent print quality.
So how do we get started?
So, do you see that hole there?
I saw the hole at the bottom, yeah. So you are a 3D printed gun aficionado. What is it about these things that appeals to you?
I think the thing I like the most about it, aside from exercising your constitutional rights, which is awesome, but you're able to make guns that you can't buy. There are these really cool, intricate, neat designs that people create and test that you can make that you actually can't purchase in a store, but also to be anonymous and private with your gun making.
But there's also this element to 3D printed guns that somebody who's mentally ill or a felon or Luigi Mangione can, fabricate their own gun and go out and commit a crime with it. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Freedom is ultimately dangerous. There's no way to stop people from hurting each other, unfortunately. I don't love that people commit crimes and kill each other with guns, but they are designed for killing. I'm not going to deny that. But we live in a country that is relatively free when it comes to a lot of our laws, and especially the Second Amendment.
It is kind of remarkable, the precision of this. It seems like a commercial piece.
The design of this particular pistol was so good in 2020 that it's still the go-to Glock style frame. It's open source, and designers can take the raw blueprints of this thing and then add their own tweaks to it.
If you really were like a lone wolf killer trying to make this thing alone in your garage, where would you learn this?
Or if you were just someone who's into building guns and not a lone wolf killer. Sure. But there are assembly videos, particularly like the sites where you download some of the files, but it's a lot of trial and error.
The slide to me is like shocking to even look at. It's like, I can't believe this is just a component of a gun. And so it's just strange that like the regulated part is not the part that holds the rounds.
Yep, that's per the ATF. The ATF decided that. So thanks, ATF. This can be challenging because what can happen is the rear rail.
I can't believe this is just a component of a gun. And so it's just strange that like the regulated part is not the part that holds the rounds.
Yep, that's per the ATF. The ATF decided that. So thanks, ATF. This can be challenging because what can happen is the rear rails sometimes don't line up perfectly. Yep, now pull it back as hard as you can. Now let it go. All right, now we got our gun. And just make sure you don't point it at anyone.
I see the empty chamber.
Yep.
And now we're gonna put in one of these magazines. And which one do you think we should use?
What I found on the evidence photograph, there was 2 magazines. One was a Glock 17 magazine, which holds 17 rounds versus a Glock 19 magazine. This is a Magpul P mag. This one had jacketed hollow points in it. Going off that, I would say we should stick this one in.
This is essentially Luigi Mangione's gun, but we're still missing one component.
Yes, critical component.
Which is the suppressor.
Exactly.
Suppressors, also known as silencers, have been highly regulated under the National Firearms Act since 1934, and 3D printing one without a certain kind of gun-making license would be a serious felony. Since James has that license, he's going to do it for us.
So it's quite a process to legally own and possess a suppressor. The second you print out a suppressor, felony, prison, so it's a very serious deal.
3D printed suppressors are a relatively new phenomenon, and the technology to make ones like the FTN suppressor allegedly found on Mangione has come a long way in a very short time. So the suppressor is printing, and it looks like it's going to take another 3.5 hours.
Yeah, it smells a little bit like a burning.
That's so cool. The ability to make your own suppressor is very based. And there is some law that I think they're trying to pass that removes like the tax stamp and make it like legal, like much easier and less expensive to obtain, which I agree with. Like a $200 tax stamp on something that is a like, it's not required functionality, but for people that you want to use it or need it, that's a lot. It's a lot of money.
Vacuum cleaner. When this is done, we actually have to fill out a couple set of federal forms.
After a few more hours of 3D printing, we had our suppressor. We wrapped it in hockey tape just as Luigi Mangione allegedly did. So I think we're now ready to put this thing together, right?
Yeah, go right ahead, thread it on.
Once I screwed it onto the barrel of our
It is a
gun,
little
we had the
silly.
complete configuration he was accused of using as a murder weapon. This thing just got at least like twice as scary. Before heading to the range to
Twice
test
as
it, I
scary.
wanted to get the gun
With
control
suppressor.
side of the story. So I spoke to Nick Saplina at the nonprofit Every Town for Gun Safety.
3D guns are a whole new ballgame. I think 3D printed guns are about to have their moment.
I've covered this world of 3D printed guns since 2013. And back then, I wrote about this believing it was kind of a science fictional future phenomenon.
I do not think this is a future problem. ATF estimated that between 2016 and 2022, over 70,000 ghost guns were recovered at crime scenes across the country. The technology has really come of age. The printers are better, the materials are better, and the designs are better.
There are models of gun that have come out in the last few years. These almost fully 3D printed semi-automatic rifles that truly look like something out of science fiction that are really powerful and really accurate.
One of the things that is developed
It's awesome. You gotta love free and open source firearms. All that super loaded questions and PSR's response. Deload them. Hmm. Interesting.
over the last decade or more is a community of creators and sharing designs and improving upon each other's designs. And a lot of that are values that creators, I think, really can embrace. But we can't lose sight that this is about firearms. You have a right to personal protection, but when you're purposefully creating
Based. Just like you have a right to encryption.
Firearms that are flooding communities with illegal firearms that are used in crimes. And when we're innovating to make them harder to regulate, you have to ask yourself the question, just how serious you discuss.
It's together, and you remember that you've created something on the streets of Manhattan last year. So for this first shot, I'm gonna just hold it to the side from the hip, just in case this slide flies off the 3D printed frame and goes backwards at a high speed. Moment of truth. Wow.
How'd we do? Intact?
Totally flawless, yeah.
Nice. Decently quiet for supersonic ammunition as well.
Well, let's load it up again.
All right.
Nice.
I don't know. Let's see. Another misfire. So I guess what's happening here is that the suppressor is preventing it from cycling properly?
Yes, what's happening is the slide's coming forward, but probably not quite enough to strike the primer and then cause a detonation downrange. But we did get a couple there, so I want to kind of give it a shot and see if I can break it in a little bit. As we saw in the DCT camera video, he was going like this after every shot, hitting the back of the slide like you did correctly. But I want to actually see if this is going to function without the suppressor attached.
Let's do that. Let's take it off.
Okay.
In a normal semi-automatic Glock, the upper part of the gun, known as its slide, which retracts with every shot, resets the trigger and loads a new round into the chamber. In the video of Thompson's murder, the gun, allegedly fired by Mangione, appears not to have functioned. That's a result of the suppressor attachment preventing that rechamber.
It's kind of weird
and
to
yet,
use,
the
to use
CEO
the
killer in the
suppressor, too.
CCTV video didn't
Like,
panic or stop to
suppressors
diagnose
don't-
his ghost gun's apparent malfunctioning. He reacted quickly, racking the gun, shooting it, and racking again, as if he knew exactly how the weapon he had made would perform. Had the assassin practiced with his gun at a range to break it in? Had he, in fact, engaged in exactly the type of troubleshooting we were doing right now?
Not everything works, and so you got to do a little bit of filing sometimes. We've done a little bit of modifications. We're going to see if it runs semi-automatic.
You take it for a spin.
It's so close now. Oh, there we go. Oh, there it is. Yep.
Here you can see
Nice.
that when we take off
Based. Copyright strike. Copyright strike.
the suppressor, the gun functions
Suppress,
as a
suppress,
truly
sup-
semi-automatic firearm.
This video is going to be
Start the suppressor.
suppressed.
Do it. We got the suppressor on. We made some modifications to the barrel and the slide. Hopefully it'll run.
You were manually racking it, but just like we saw in the video of Brian Thompson's killing. And to be clear, like the thing that we had to file was not the 3D printed part. It was this kind of slightly crappy commercial part. You know, I imagine that for allegedly Mangione himself, he probably had similar kind of hiccups and then probably did take a file to it at some point.
Indeed, and it seemed like he knew that it was going to malfunction in the way that we just saw and was ready for that malfunction to happen.
Right. In my hands is the gun that allegedly killed CEO Brian Thompson. The same Glock-style pistol, same parts, same suppressor.
He allegedly is
As
so
I squeezed the trigger and racked the gun in the exact same way the killer allegedly did, I felt the same explosive recoil he would have. And it drove home the disturbing realization that our experiment in building a lethal, uncontrollable weapon had been a success. What kind of law or regulation do you actually imagine could get a grip on this issue?
The key part of this is to make breaking the law harder. And the way you make breaking the law harder is to focus on the 3D printers and the sort of firmware and software that make them work. We've been here before.
Boo. Like also controlling I mean Creality's software is free and open source, so good fucking luck. And if I think that was the Bamboo issue, like Bamboo Fabulous funds for a change of its TOS firmware updates, which have been but a backlash from the 3D printing community. The community just new authorization control feature, which restricts communication with unofficial third-party software. Yeah,
with money counterfeiting.
People
And the
are
software
gonna be pissed
companies
when you
like
do
the
that.
Adobes of the world detect whether
And
you are
that's just
trying
like one
to print
that's
currency.
just one 3D
You
printing
can't do
company.
it. We're starting to have conversations with the folks behind these printing companies that is like, yeah, we can detect it and we can stop our printer from printing.
I can already imagine the incredible backlash to any effort to kind of put DRM on 3D printers.
Oh my
Or
God.
try to just restrict computers, essentially, that people own.
I'm in the business of trying to save lives. And the fact of the matter is, gun violence is the number one killer of children and teens in this country. And there's lots of room for legal ownership, for even.
Whoa. I don't think that's true anymore. Is that? Oh, well. Wow. That's 2024 fact stat. Let's see what the CDC says. Interesting.
Maybe legal printing. But the idea that we're going to sort of sit this one out because the crypto anarchists have won is not going to happen. And they're going to find that those of us in the gun safety debate have a lot of fight in us as well.
I've successfully made a ghost gun. Now I have a problem. I can't legally take it back to New York, where I live, and I can't legally leave it here in Louisiana or give it to someone else either. So I'm going to turn in the parts I made to the local police. Hopefully they're not going to ask too many questions. I think we've proven that a dozen years after I first started writing about 3D printed guns, it's actually easier than ever before to use digital tools to build a deadly weapon with total privacy and impunity in most of the United States, despite every effort by gun control advocates. Until that changes, and as 3D printing technology keeps getting better.
Wired. Always doing the interesting.
I'm Carrie Ann Moss.
Film history. We don't have much time. Blah blah blah. Wired suits, man. Let's see what our homie.
What's going on, guys? So today,
Remember, guys, give him a good old like and a share. What the fuck? Thanks for honest, not to relate, but can you help? I have a safe. Why? What's good? Feds are gonna use it. True. What's going on, Tommy Gun Studios? Hello, Christian. You know how you get those? What do you call it? What are they called? Fuck. Those I get these all the time. These things on my videos. Thanks for letting us. Not related, but can you help? I have a Safe Pow wallet with UDST in it, and I have to seed phrase. Air carpet, blah blah blah. What is the best way to send it to Binance? Love to see a tutorial. Would love to see a tutorial on an art piece. Tutorial.
I'm without my normal microphone, so you'll have to forgive my laptop microphone.
Vets are gonna use 3D printed stuff too. They're like, I think that the benefit of a 3D printed firearm is not because people that are illegally gonna do it, but it just gives you just better privacy. That's all it is. But you do have the right to.
Today I want to talk a little bit about how big tech's executives are now being named immediate rank of lieutenant.
Wow, unironic. Wired article from RTP after watching Wired video. They're going to shut my channel down immediately. Fuck.
Colonels in the U.S. military. That's right, people from Meta. That's right, your Facebook provider is now going to put its executives as lieutenant colonels.
Everyone make sure to go sub and give RTP Tech Tips big old like. His content is based and cool.
Complete with army fatigues, as well as some from Palantir as well. Surprise, surprise there, right? And then it looks like we're also going to see OpenAI, who is also, of course, getting contracts with the military now. Whereas in the past, they had a rule against this kind of technology involvement. Now, it does look like this is something that is unprecedented in that they are getting a rank that normally takes about...
I do have Rumble. That link right there will lead you. If not, it's not a FBI honeypot on Rumble. You can find me.
2 decades of risking your life to achieve. So that's right, we have middle-aged tech bros being sworn in this picture right here. And with everything going on in the world, I don't know, it's not that surprising to me. And we've even seen that Snopes has confirmed this, so it is in fact a real story. That's right, big tech executives are now going to be high-ranking officers in the U.S. military.
Windows USB confirmed. RTP fed.
Does it get more dystopian than this? And one of them actually wrote an article here. This is one of the people that has been sworn in as a lieutenant colonel in the Army. And this person had claimed in this writing that we are in an undeclared state of emergency. For anyone who's familiar, a state of emergency is something that gives you emergency powers, something that can allow you to suspend everything from rights to the Constitution. It's pretty concerning in my eyes, and with all of these B2s dropping things and all of the other problems that we're seeing going on in the world today, it's not looking so good. So we see that OpenAI actually deleted their military contracting ban in 2024 without any kind of explanation or announcement. So, as we see, things are coming together for our beautiful utopia of a dystopian oligarchy is what it looks like when you have the military, and they're going to be doing advising, according to this article and others.
Yeah, it's good. I haven't watched it yet. I'm just watching it at 2x speed.
They are going to be in an advisement role in the U.S. Army Reserve.
I don't want RTP to... I don't want him to think that I'm stealing his content illegally. I'm sharing it.
Reserves as lieutenant colonels, as mentioned, takes usually 2 decades to achieve this rank. The people usually have to risk their life for that 2-decade period, but instead, these guys have only risked carpal tunnel, from what I understand at least. Now, of course, I'm sure they've done...
True. Remember, keyboard warriors are now going to be the true patriots of America.
A lot of hard work for their companies, but I don't know how I feel about that. Now, I am not a veteran, so I can't really say firsthand, but if you're a veteran, let me know how you feel about this. I really would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Is this insulting to you that they are getting the rank of lieutenant colonel, or is this just another normal thing? Am I just that unfamiliar with things?
Let's ask the internet. Can I learn how to spell? Hacker News. The Army's newest recruit, tech execs from Meta. U.S. Army bringing in big tech executives as lieutenant colonels. Okay. I don't know if people are. Is that normal? I'm wondering if people are actually pissed about this. Sometimes known as Fork Knife School. I can't speak specifically for Army, but particularly personal London. When I attended AFROTC field training at Maxwell, a lot of ways it was fairly typical boot camp experience. Roaming. One One was a Marine who was made a number of landings involved a lot of things I wish I could forget. Lots of reading. Yeah, the Marines talk openly about it. Maybe a handful of them got feelings he let out. I guess the rank is invisible to military doctors the same way that money is to rich people or positive attention. Okay. Maybe it's not a thing. Maybe it's a thing that people don't care about.
So as we go down through this article, it's about service, of course. There we have it. The thrill of being a lieutenant colonel overnight. Now, if you're not familiar with what's happening in the world, which you probably are by now, how can you miss World War III? And
True.
We know the B-2s have dropped things. We have even Palantir's Alex Karp, who had predicted 2024 that the U.S. would be very likely to be fighting a three-front war against Russia, China, and Iran. And it's not so much of a surprise when we consider that Palantir co-founder just the other day had talked about his interest in regime change for Iran. He mentions he wouldn't mind investing in that Iran. As we can see, he's excited to invest in Iran. He talked about his interest in regime change, and he's also talking about the future of Doge. So as you know, with my videos in the past on the oligarchies, the entire Freedom Cities initiatives, all of these things that are intertwined between many of the companies that have been mentioned, as well as Doge itself.
The thing about Palantir is, I wrote a big comment why I'm concerned about the biological effects of nuclear fallout under that video. Hope I didn't sound paranoid. The biology of radiation. Yeah, no, that's a normal concern. I don't see it. It might be. Oh, I see 11 comments, but wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe they're being hidden. Oh, here we go. Oh, 2 decades of risking your life. 20 years, number LT calling 20 years would make kind of a slow burn. Oh. Maybe when you click on new. Yeah, you're right. Oh my god, all these Japanese wallets coming out of nowhere. It's the first time this happened. While it's subjective, I wouldn't use the word dystopian. People have argued that Ford and Oppenheimer would have been more efficient. Oh god, this is a long comment from this guy. 2 decades of risking your life. Number lieutenant in 20 years would be kind of a slow progress in the military, but yes, of course, low-ranking military servicemen will have to render the proper customs and courtesies benefiting an officer. That is standard military life. You don't choose who to salute, even if you hate the officer. You're respecting the rank, not the person. This is not the first time this has happened. While subjective, I wouldn't use the word dystopian. People have argued that Ford and Oppenheimer would have been more efficient and accomplished their goals quicker if they were just given military ranks. Instead, they needed to go through so many middlemen, which wasted a lot of time. Think of how much time it took to get permission for something in the days before the internet. Cybersecurity experts working closely with the military units digital things are very time sensitive have been given ranks of major and above, as well doctors, engineers, lawyers, and dentists. They've been given military ranks for the facility. Things. I don't. They're just bots. Cybersecurity experts want very time sensitive. Okay, that makes sense. I wonder how true this is. I'd like to look into this. There have been jobs more easily common. A dentist that did some work for me was a captain, but never went through boot camp or anything like that. It's an administrative thing. This is primarily for streamlining management. The tech bros are in charge of plenty programs that the military and civil intelligence agency, as well as normal government agencies, use. Giving them a rank helps the scores of people underneath them understand their roles better instead of inserting the middleman like an officer or a liaison. It's more confusing when a tech bro in charge of some vital tech database would be giving orders to an enlisted serviceman. Surely can understand how this would bring unnecessary confusion for low-ranking troops. Also, it probably, if they're not technically literate, I guess that does make sense. Think of those movies where some tech bro is giving an order to some 22 servicemen. It just wouldn't happen. These servicemen technically wouldn't have to obey the commands from the guys, especially in the real world in 2025, when the tech involves far-reaching advanced technologies. These guys will be working closely with servicemen, like managing a program. This protects the servicemen from initiating some kind of event, digital or otherwise, from repercussions if the manager was only a civilian. For an extreme example, imagine Zuckerberg saying, launch the nuke, and the serviceman does it. Then after the math, Zuckerberg is arrested, and lawyers say something, well, he's a civilian. The 22-year-old private didn't have to follow his orders, and therefore culpable. Understand? It's about liability management. Interesting. Interesting and based. For the algorithm, guys, remember, like and sub for the algorithm.
Itself, which seems, in my personal opinion, remind you, this is my opinion, it seems that all is one in the same. So it is interesting. Now, we know that there are nuclear weapons in Europe as part of a treaty with NATO. Add to that, we can see that Russia had a warning that went out before the strikes happened over in Iran, and as well as working together, they were talking about how Pakistan could even promise a tit for tat if Israel used a nuclear weapon on Iran. Iran has said that Pakistan assured them that they would return that to them. So things are getting pretty heated.
That naming is crazy. Pak assures tit for tat if Rizzo uses N-bomb on us. What the fuck, India today?
And I just want to do this little video. I'm kind of in a complicated situation right now, so it's not as easy for me to record at the moment, but I am doing my best to try and just share some things that had concerned me about big tech executives.
This man's tabs are open. His RAM usage must be insane. What's mine at? Guys, I'm at 11 gigs. Massive blow.
Executives being part of the U.S. military's high-ranking officers overnight. So, as we know, the current administration tore up the Iran nuclear deal, which has been rumored to have been a request from certain donors who have an interest in the Middle East. Add to that, even Russia has mentioned that there are nations that are interested in supplying.
Yo, call this Rip Virtual Reality. Google's text bro has a drone warfare company now. The developer Offensive AI, computer vision for war drones. It is very impressive. Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. I do have an issue with Palantir selling our data and being a shitty company and a shady company. For the matter of fact of that, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Combat is complicated.
Iran with nuclear warheads. So has these strikes actually done anything positive, or have they only increased the tensions and allowed the world to be more likely to enter a nuclear conflict? I'm not so convinced that these strikes were a good thing for anyone. and I mean anyone. I'm talking about every country. I don't think they were good for Israel. I don't think they were good for the US. I don't think they were good for Europe. I don't think they were good for Iran, obviously. I don't think they were good for pretty much anyone, especially since things are getting so heated that even though those particular facilities may have been struck, there are now reportedly nations that have an interest in supplying the very thing that those strikes were supposed to prevent. So guys, that's what I got today. I just had to do this quick video. I actually was going to do a video on the Librem 5, but actually the battery is completely a dud. Somebody gave it to me as a gift, but I do plan on doing that video soon. But for now, I just wanted to share this story with you, and sorry about the microphone. It's not the best microphone, but it is all I have at the moment. Without giving all details, that's where I'll leave it. And let me know what you think in the comments. If
the feds broke into his house and stole his microphone. Confirmed. Interesting. Oh, I heard the company Palantir's first time from Yon. I mean, I've been aware of Palantir for a long time. Not a good company. They're like really shady. They have a shady past. I mean, you can imagine. It's kind of like the Pegasus software usage. Yeah, I mean, you could put them in the same boat technically. They're both nation state. They're mainly on the nation state, but the problem is Palantir is getting contracts with the United States government, and it's getting a little too close to the current administration, which I'm not a fan of, because it's like there's articles, and there is subjective. There is some worrisome that our data is gonna be not siloed anymore. Like, it's gonna be freely tradable, available, easy use, accessible. Siloed data is a problem, and I'm working on my next podcast episode, and I'm writing something on making a digital bunker, siloing your data. And I think, shameless plug, but I think it's going to be more important than ever to start self-hosting. And for the people that are like, you can't, not self-hosting isn't the solution. Yes, it is. It is the solution. If you're in the US right now, self-host. Simple. Not a hard sell. Any other country, it might be illegal, it might not be possible, it might be costly. Let's think about this for a second. Damn it. What's the name of, what do I have? GMK. If anyone watches this stream to its entirety, you can get one of these. For like, this is what I've moved to. I've moved to this. It is super easy to get. $300, it's kind of expensive, but the Wi-Fi 6, whatever, don't do that. 32 gigs of RAM. Do not public expose this. I don't know the security of the firmware or the hardware. I don't know when the fuck the last update it's got. I wouldn't trust this as far as you could throw it. But That's a lot. That's a good amount of RAM, and it's so small. I don't know what the fuck has Bluetooth. You can just disable that shit. Do that, and then there's a couple of operating systems you can do. You can do this. No, sorry, not Star Labs. Not Star Labs. You can do this. Start 9. It's Start 9. God, I'm retarded. Start 9 sovereign computing. Enterprise level spyware are some of the things that are the worst things that as massive owns. Guess I think. Sure. But it's most likely not going to affect 99% of it. Like, no one's using Pegasus on the average citizen. That's retarded. You don't need to anyways. Like I said, people just leak metadata. The issue isn't you. And for anyone listening, if you get to this part too, you do not need nation state spyware level software. We leak metadata and do it ourselves. Like Signal. Signal is end-to-end encrypted, but if I have your device in my possession and you don't have a good PIN, it is useless. Not a crazy concept. It's not this is already pretty well documented that government agencies, FBI, NSA, PP, they all rely on metadata. Metadata is the only thing that you need to care about. In the orders, actually, I'm going to rephrase that. In the orders of operations of care in your threat model, metadata should be your first. It should be the first thing you focus on. How to reduce metadata, how to throw out metadata, how to fudge metadata, how to fake it, how to delete it, whatever you want to put. I do not need nation level spyware to de-anonymize someone. They just need to have bad OPSEC through bad metadata management. Giving out your number, giving out your email address, giving out, using Gmail. I just go through the list. Bad OPSEC and poor metadata management is the killer. Self-hosting solves this. The less information that these companies have, the less you have to worry. Not putting all your eggs in one basket. What would I rather have? 5 good privacy-respecting companies that have my data, or 50 and you're just guessing? But back to the point. Start 9 registry. It's kind of crypto, it talks about Bitcoin and stuff, but you have a simple X server you can host for you and your friends. You have RoboSats. You have Synapses for Matrix, the Matrix server. You have Bitcoin Core if you want to. You have a Nostr Relay written in Rust, based, awesome. Oh, and it's processed data with SQLite, based, nice. You got burn after reading, no strudel, a sandbox for exploring Nostr. Ghost, Data, Vault Warden, Nextcloud, Gitty. If you really want to the easiest click and point, and it's all self-hosted, NetCloud is, I don't know. The Snowden leaks makes me think there is no end to possibilities of data collection at this population of the global level. Well, it depends. I don't really care about the global level. There is no global data collection. There's countries that respect their privacy of their citizens way more than other countries. This is already been shown, proven. There's certain companies that can't operate in parts of Europe because they have good data protections, and they said you're spying and you're not following our laws, so leave. Or they'll kick them out or whatever. It's complicated, but again, I don't care about global global collection, like global caring about global collection is insane. All Snowden leaked was like, hey, the government's spying on you, and people didn't know, and now they're aware of it. And that's it. I don't think the leaks really are that shocking. I mean, not anymore. I mean, sure, when they came out like 10 years ago, I think that's something to care about, but I generally don't think that the leaks are. I don't think that they're like, I don't think about Edward Snowden anymore. It's cool what he did. I appreciate what he did. I think he pointed out an issue with the fact we're very lucky that somebody with ethics found out and was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And he risked his life. And then he backed Zcash, and Zcash is terrible. Just use Monero. But you can, if you self-host, it doesn't matter. Self-hosting doesn't require a server either. You putting your notes and your password manager, like KeyPass, etc., in on your phone is 100 times better than putting it in a company that asks for any information that can reveal your true identity. Just do here. It's simple. Password management. KeyPass. KeyPass. If your people are listening and you want to know, photo. Just get any photo, like any free and open source photo manager. Put it on a hard drive. Just get a hard drive if you don't want to get a server. Put it on a hard drive. Put everything on a hard drive. If you're still retarded and you still want to use the these crap fucking providers, Cryptomator. You don't have to buy this either. I purchased mine because I want this to not disappear. It's very affordable. Definitely, I agree. I just don't know what the degree of data collection. I mean, I agree that everything you say, my phrasing is weird. You're never gonna know. It's impossible. Like right here, $15, and you get an amazing. I paid $20, and I paid $20 again, and I don't use Cryptomate anymore because I self-host, but I still love the project. For the retards that still want to use Google Drive and Dropbox, here's your answer for it. KeyPass, Cryptomator, Joplin, if you like notes. Joplin's great if you don't like Obsidian is proprietary. This is free and open source. And self-hostable, but you don't have to self-host it. LogSec, privacy first, open source knowledge base. This is a very based one. I like them. They're getting better. It's when I first got it, it was less polished. And then there's Sync Thing for syncing. What else do people use? Social media, just use progressive web apps. But on the everyone's always like photos, videos, text. Photos, videos, text. Like what do you have? Like, you know what I mean? Think about it. What do you have that you can't realistically safely do yourself? And if you care about the syncing feature, I mean, that's just Sync Thing is fine. I use it all the time. You want to stop data collection? Here's your answers. Free and open source options. Jellyfin, that's another one. For your movies, buy movies with money. Put them on your computer. Download Jellyfin. Use Jellyfin. Perfect. Use Plex, even though Plex has a license fee. Or MB. MB's not open source, it's proprietary. But Jolly Fan, you know what I mean? Just have these options available. I think that's like the best thing you can do. But big sleepy, big hot, big lemonade gone. I will see you guys in the next one. I will stream again tomorrow, same time.